Ghost stories for kids. Short horror stories for Goosebumps and Shivers. Adventure stories for kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. This is a book with two ghost stories. They are both different, and they are both thrilling and a little scary, but still kid-friendly. Some characters get chased by ghosts, others are ghosts, and some think they are seeing ghosts. One is about Terry and a ghost haunting him, the other about a family and a little girl who hears something, after which they are confronted with dangerous, exploding monsters. Have fun listening to these two great ghost stories. Story 1. Terry and the Talking Ghost. There is a story, an ancient story, one about two ghosts that protect the village of Sping Village. Everyone in town has heard of them, others have seen them, or at least one of them. But nobody knows what happened and how these ghosts have become their guardians. What everyone does know, however, is that since these ghosts have been showing up, enemies have stayed out and the village people have become safer. Terry is in his house. He has barely finished cooking and has set the plates on the table. He sits down and smells his meal. Ah, nice. Cauliflower, meatloaf, and potatoes. This is going to be delicious. He starts eating and is stopped by a gush of wind. Huh? Terry says. What was that? He looks to the left and notices the door is open. I thought I closed the door. Am I going nuts? He gets up and closes the door again. That was weird. Oh well, he isn't going to let it spoil his dinner. But then it happens again, this time stronger. The door swings open and the wind blows away one of his napkins. Whoosh! How did this happen? It doesn't make any sense. Just an hour ago, the wind wasn't so strong, and now it's blowing over his stuff. Terry gets up again and closes the outside door. Everything seems calm, nothing going on. But suddenly he hears a soft moaning sound. Boo! Who is there? Terry asks. No answer. If you think this is funny, then come laugh over here, because I think it's a sick joke, Terry shouts. Again, no answer. Oh well, Terry thinks. If it's one of those annoying kids from across the street, I will find out eventually. He reads a book and goes to sleep. That evening there are no more disturbances. The next morning, he wakes up by the sound of birds chirping. The wind is gone. It's all quiet except for the birds. He stands up and puts on his clothes, after which he heads to the main village castle. When he walks through the gate and passes the guards there, he greets his superior and reports the tasks from the previous day. Terry is a village guard, a knight that protects his hometown from invading enemies like exploding monsters, dark shades, and zombies. Some of them are really dangerous and scary. He has had times that he barely survived and thought he shouldn't have been alive. But hey, it pays the bills, and he is an adventurous type anyway. He doesn't mind it. Besides, he is not afraid to die. He has nothing to lose. Most of his family members are gone or deceased, and he isn't even married. That's not to say he doesn't consider his life valuable, but he is more than happy to sacrifice it for the well-being of others if needed. So why would he care? Ready to go, sir, he says. His superior, Magnus, is a tough dude. He has a strong chin and some big muscles. He has been a guard as long as Terry, but his extra courses and training helped him fight his way up the career ladder and become a commanding officer. He is wearing a red shirt and always carries his sword behind his back. Get your sword, Terry, he says. We have reports coming in from the northern borders. Dark shades are attacking the farmers there. I need you to go and stop them. Don't come back until they are defeated. How many are we talking about, sir? Terry asks. Oh, just a handful, I think. Very well, sir. I will go right away." Terry salutes Magnus, turns around, and runs out the castle gate. When he arrives at the designated area about 20 minutes later, he sees what the officer means. Immediately, he is confronted with a few dark shades beating up a villager behind a farm. "Hey you, stop that!" Terry yells. And with those remarks, he dashes forward to fight the dark shades. The villager quickly hides behind a wall, watching the brave guard put his life in danger to secure his. Terry slashes with his sword and decapitates a dark shade. The other jumps back and attacks Terry quickly afterwards. He misses, and Terry counters his moves by stabbing the dark shade in the chest. "Die, evil monster!" Terry exclaims. And with that, the fight is over. The last dark shade flees into the forest from whence it came. Terry helps the villager up by reaching out. The villager grabs his hand and thanks him elaborately. "Come have some tea," the farmer says. "Oh, no thank you. I need to be on my way," Terry answers. "No, really. Just sit down with me for a few minutes. It will be my pleasure." "Okay, I guess a few minutes wouldn't hurt," Terry says. He follows the farmer to his home where he receives a cup of hot, steaming tea. The farmer sits across from him and says, "You should be careful out there. One of these days you're not going to make it. Have you thought of that?" "It comes with the job," Terry says. "I don't care, actually." "You don't fear death?" "Nope. It's all just a phase. I believe in the eternal worlds. My spirit will move on when I die." "Well, that's good to know. I am terrified of death. What if there is nothing after this life?" "Then I better make the most of it," Terry answers. "Now, if you will excuse me, I have to report to my commander. Thanks for the tea." "You're welcome." Terry returns to the castle and reports defeating the dark shades. 0 fatalities on our side, the report includes. Magnus is proud of him. He lets Terry go for the rest of the day. "Nice," Terry thinks. "All this free time for myself." Satisfied with his accomplishment, he walks home and lies down on his bed. He closes his eyes. Time for a nap. Terry sleeps and sleeps. The fighting has made him tired. At first, all is peaceful, but when time elapses, he is woken up by the same gush of wind. Whoosh! The door swings open again. What is up with that door? He asks himself. He walks over to close it and then sees a strange creature in the distance with green eyes, hovering above the ground. What the? But before he can finish his sentence, the creature flies at him and knocks him to the ground. Ouch, Terry says. He gets up and runs to get his sword. He grabs it and holds it in front of him, looking around and wondering where the creature is at. "Are you a ghost?" Terry shouts. "I am not afraid of you. What do you want from me?" The ghost flies at him again, but this time, Terry evades its attack. "Come face me like a man," Terry yells. "Boo!" the ghost answers. "Boo? Is that all you have to say? Can you even talk?" Terry asks. "Of course I can talk," he hears. Huh? A talking ghost? He didn't expect that one. "Come here and I'll impale you with my sword, you coward," Terry says. "You wouldn't be able to even if you wanted to," the ghost says. "You would stab right through me. I am a ghost, remember?" "Then what do you want with me?" Terry asks again. "Oh, I just wanted to have some fun. I am terribly bored, you know." "Well, if you want fun, then just come talk to me. What's the point of haunting me?" "Sure," the ghost says, and he flies over to Terry. Finally, Terry gets to take a closer, longer look at the ghost. It's amazing that he can see through him, yet still he sees him. "What's your name?" Terry asks. "I am Shoardan. I used to be a guard until I died, and I've been flying around as a ghost ever since. It's pretty cool, actually. Nobody can do anything to me, but I can do something to others. That's how I think it works, at least." "So now what?" Terry asks. "Are you going to use your powers for good, or are you just going to bully me and others around with your eerie sounds?" Well, since you are a guard, perhaps we can team up and defeat enemies together, the ghost says. Terry thinks for a few seconds. Then he looks at Shoarden and says, as long as you stay out of the castle. If they find out I brought a ghost to do my dirty work for me, I don't think they will like it. Fine, I will stay out of the castle. Anything else? Yeah, I want to know how you died exactly. Maybe I can learn from your experience. I died trying to defend the village, Shoarden says. I was surrounded by 3-headed skeletons, but I was winning. It was a piece of cake. I slaughtered them one by one, and the dead skeletons piled up in front of me. Soon I would have defeated the whole army, but my pride got in the way. I celebrated in my mind before I was there. Meanwhile, dozens of skeletons were slain by the slashing moves of my sword. But then, when I finally thought I had defeated most of them, one of the skeletons stood in front of me. What was so special about it? I had never seen anything like it, Shoarden says. It was humongous, twice as big as the other skeletons. It was wearing some crazy armor, with signs and symbols all over it. I was frightened. The skeleton intimidated me. I didn't know what to do, so I panicked. I stabbed another skeleton and ran. He chased after me and swung his giant sword, missing the first time but hitting me the second time. That was it for me. I struggled for breath, and I died within minutes. If only I had the courage to stand up against it, I could have been victorious. I still feel awful about it. Where is this 3-headed skeleton? Terry asks. I believe he is wandering around on the western border, but if I were you, I would stay away from it. I had my chance, and I died. Don't let that happen to you. I won't, but I just feel like it's my duty to avenge you, Terry says. You don't have to. I mean, it was my mistake. You still have an entire life ahead of you. Don't risk it. What if you come with me? You could distract it, and I could kill it. Shoarden has to think about that one. Maybe, he says. Terry and Shoarden talk all evening. Terry learns about Shoarden's former life, gets the confirmation that there is life after death, and tells the ghost about some of the adventures he has experienced defending Sping Village. They are having lots of fun, until Terry tells Shoarden he has to go to sleep. Ghosts don't sleep, so Shoarden decides to fly away until the morning. The next day, Shoarden is standing next to Terry's bed when he wakes up. Wow, you scared me to death, Terry says. No, because you're still alive, Shoarden replies. It's an expression, you weirdo. And by the way, you have to wait until I am done eating, because I am not going to defend the village on an empty stomach. Fine, no problem. Shoarden watches Terry eat some sausages, eggs, and bacon, but it doesn't do much with him because he doesn't have a nose anyway. When they head out the door and arrive at the castle, Terry tells Shoarden to stay outside so he won't scare anyone. Then Terry goes to Magnus and asks him where he is needed. At the west side of the city, is the answer. Wow, what a coincidence, Terry thinks. Who knows? I might come across that big 3-headed skeleton that killed my ghost friend. Terry runs towards the west side of the village, near the edge of the woods. And there they are, an army of skeletons ready to attack the village, spotted by some of the best spies from the castle. Ready to attack? Yes, but he is going to stop them. Shall we? Shoarden asks, while floating next to him. This ends now, Terry says in a low voice. He takes his sword and storms at the skeleton army, dashing and slashing, killing dozens of zombies. His buddy, the ghost, flies along and punches some skeletons in their faces, making it easier for Terry to stab them with his weapon. It goes on like this for a while. A big battle occurs on the plains in front of the forest border, but then they both hear a loud stomping. Well, what was that? Terry asks. I don't know, Shoarden says. Suddenly it leaps in front of them. Bang! The ground shakes, and Terry and his ghost buddy are looking up at a giant skeleton, a monstrous figure with armor, a shield, and a huge sword, larger than Terry's own height. "That's him!" Shoradin yells. "That's the skeleton who killed me! Don't just stand there, just—" But it's already too late. The three-headed skeleton impales Terry with his sword. Terry coughs and falls to the ground. After a few spasms, his body remains still, and blood flows from the wound, soaking the ground and turning it red. "Oh no, Terry! I tried to warn you!" Shoradin screams. "What's going to happen now?" Then he hears a voice behind him, something he didn't expect. "What is the whining all about? Grow up, and don't be a stupid idiot." Shoradin turns around and is looking at another ghost, one that looks similar but has blue glowing eyes instead of green. Is it? No, it can't be. "Terry?" Shoradin asks carefully. "The one and only," Terry says. "Now let's get this jerk and take him with us to the other world." Terry has become a ghost with lots of benefits. He can't be stabbed or hit or thrown around. He has become invincible and powerful. He loves his new form of life. Well, death, actually, but life nonetheless. "Do that again, you idiot," Terry says to the giant skeleton. The three-headed skeleton swings his sword at Terry, but as he tries to kill him, the weapon goes right through him. The skeleton tries it again and again, but to no avail. Terry laughs. This skeleton cannot do anything to him. When he is done, Terry says, "Now it's my turn, ugly head," and he punches the skeleton in the face. Bam! The skeleton falls over. Terry flies around him like an irritating little fly. The skeleton becomes frustrated and tries to hit him. "That's what you get for killing me and my friend here," Terry says. "Let's finish this." He flies towards the skeleton's sword and tugs it out of his hand. Then he aims and stabs the skeleton between the ribs. Fatality! The skeleton dies instantly with an agonizing cry ripping the air in half. "Nice," Shoradin says when he flies over. "What are your plans now?" "Now that I avenged you and died myself, I can still do my job," Terry says. "I don't have to be alive to do it. I am simply going to fly around this town and make sure it's safe. And any enemy that ever comes near it will have to answer to me." "Can I join you?" Shoradin asks. "Of course you can," Terry says. "How about you stay on one side and I stay on another side? Then we can switch off and stand guard." "Sounds like a great plan," Shoradin says. And so, ever since that time, the village has been safe. Dark shades, skeletons, and zombies all stayed away. No one dared enter Sping Village without permission of these two invisible guardians. The end. Story 2. Beware, Beware. They were sitting in a wagon. They both loved it there. Their mother had already stepped out, ready to move into their new house. Agatha ran to the horse and wagon. "Are you coming or what?" she asked. The two girls stepped out of the wagon and avoided the muddy puddle in front of them by jumping over it. "Careful," the mother urged them. "The house is over there. Let's not waste too much time and get there before it starts raining again." "Mom, Rosie pushed me," one of the girls said. "But Myrtle was saying that I looked funny with the bow in my hair," the other said. "I don't want to hear about it," Agatha said. "Move along now. Come on." Before they knew it, it started raining again. They reached the house in time before they got soaked. The house was enormous. It had 10 different bedrooms, 5 hallways, and 2 sets of winding staircases. Its elegant decorations reminded Agatha of the Victorian era, the good old days. Now she was going to repossess the house that was already hers. Her husband had left it to her. He had passed away a long time ago, and Agatha was raising her 2 daughters by herself. Now they were standing there, facing an empty house with more space than they could have ever dreamt of. Agatha looked at her two girls and told them to swipe off the moisture on their jackets. "But we will be the only ones there," Myrtle protested. "It doesn't matter if we are wet or not." "This house is going to be clean and tidy," her mom answered. "I will not have you forsake your manners because we have no guests." The three went inside. "Whoa!" Rosie exclaimed. "This is big, Mom!" "I know, Rosie. I inherited it a long time ago. We moved away before you two were born." "I like it," Rosie said. "It looks a little creepy," Myrtle disagreed. "Well, you'll get used to it," Agatha said, as she walked to the windows and started straightening the curtains. "What is that painting on the wall?" Rosie asked. "That? Oh, that's an exploding monster. I don't know why anybody painted that. Let's get rid of it. It looks hideous." "Didn't Dad used to fight those things?" Myrtle asked. "Yes, he did," Agatha said. "Your father was a brave man." Agatha walked to the horrendous-looking painting and stared at it. Someone had painted a green monster with ugly teeth and mean eyes. The shadows behind it were even eerier than the creature in the foreground. It gave Agatha the shivers. So she took it off the wall and threw it out the door. The girls looked in amazement when they saw their mother's sudden display of assertiveness. The painting and the frame were being flooded by the rain and the mud to be forgotten and thrown away. "Don't stare. We don't want it, right? So there's no problem, is there?" "No, Mom," her two daughters said. That night, they were sleeping in the same room. All three wanted to stay together, just because of the dark, scary house they were in. It was spacious, but it didn't put them at ease. They all slept. All except for Myrtle. She was wide awake, and she wouldn't fall asleep anytime soon. "Such an inheritance," she thought. "Just because this place is big doesn't mean I have to like it. Look at the walls. They're black, and the curtains are an ugly brownish color. I have to go to the bathroom." She got up and walked out of the bedroom. Her mother and older sister were still sleeping. They didn't notice anything. Myrtle tiptoed to the other side of the hallway where the bathroom was. The hallway was long and high, and the shadows of the trees were giving it a gloomy atmosphere through the leaded glass windows on her right. Luckily, she found the light switch in the bathroom and turned on the light. She looked in the mirror. There were big bags under her eyes. She was dead tired. Then she lifted the toilet seat. Thud! Thud! "Huh? What was that? Is anybody there?" she asked. Silence. "Hello?" Still no sound. Then suddenly, thud! Thud! This scared Myrtle so much that she didn't take a chance and ran back. "Ah!" she screamed. "Mommy, there's someone in the bathroom!" Agatha woke up. "What? What is it?" "I don't know, but there's someone in there, I swear," Myrtle answered while crying. "Oh, don't be so ridiculous," Rosie said. "It's not like there are ghosts in this house or something. Ghosts don't exist." "Be nice to your sister, Rosie," Agatha said. "I will go check it out. Can you stay here?" "Sure," Myrtle said. "I'm not going back there." Her mother checked. After being away for a few minutes, she came back and shook her head. "I found nothing," she said. "Sorry, it must have been your imagination." "But I heard something," Myrtle insisted. "I don't know what it was, but there was definitely something there." "Well, whatever it was, it's gone now," her mom said. "Please go back to sleep." So she did. That was the first encounter. The next day, Myrtle and Rosie were playing. "I am the mighty princess who defeats the ghasts, blazes, and pigmen in the underworld," Rosie said. "Then I am the sweet princess who gets rescued by the hero," Myrtle said. "Or I could rescue you," Rosie countered. "No, I will be rescued by a handsome prince," Myrtle said. "A prince wouldn't want to marry you because you're too scared. You're a wimp." "I am not a wimp." "You're always making things up and start being afraid of them," Rosie claimed. "That's not true. I did hear something last night." "Oh yeah? Then how come Mom didn't see anything?" But before Myrtle could answer, they both heard a thud, once repeated. Thud. Thud.
What was that? Rosie asked.
I don't know, but it's the same sound I heard last night, Myrtle said.
Ha ha, probably just a rat or a stupid cat, Rosie said.
Let's go see what it is. It could be fun.
No, don't go over there. It may be a monster or something.
Ugh, such nonsense. I don't know where you get all these ideas. But when they heard another thud, Rosie became a little nervous too. They both went to the other side of the room and opened the door. It was dark in the other room. The curtains were closed. They couldn't see anything, and the only light switch was near the other door.
Stay here, Rosie said. I'll go turn on the light.
Don't leave me, Myrtle said.
It's okay. I will just be a few seconds.
Rosie walked through the darkness to the other side of the room.
Ah!
Myrtle screamed when she saw a white, see-through figure standing in the room. Now she was certain the house was haunted. She just saw a ghost, a little girl like herself, floating above the floor in a white dress. Rosie turned the light on, and the figure disappeared.
Now what? Rosie asked. Why are you screaming? You didn't see it? There was a ghost right there, Myrtle said.
Then how come I didn't see it? I think you're just making it up again.
I'm not. I really saw a ghost, Rosie.
Yeah, sure. There's always something. Let's just go back to the room and play again. This was the second encounter. That evening, the sky was dark, but the rain had stopped. The ground was still soggy, but a round, clear, full moon shone through the clouds. Agatha had talked to her daughter that day and assured her there was nothing going on, but Myrtle insisted. The 3 family members were in white sleeping dresses. Again, Rosie and Agatha were fast asleep. They didn't seem to worry, but Myrtle was shaking heavily. She knew there was a ghost, but she wondered why. What did the little ghost girl want from them? Was she trying to scare them? Kick them out of the house? What was happening here? The nervousness caused her bladder to fill up quickly. She felt it. She had to go to the bathroom again, but she didn't want to. She was extremely anxious for the ghost to show up.
But the ghost hasn't attacked me so far, she reasoned.
It took her a few minutes of resisting her bodily urges before she gave in and got up. She walked through the large hallway and saw the full moon through the window. Then she turned on the bathroom light and looked in the mirror. She gasped for air. She wanted to scream, but something was telling her not to. Something, or someone. There she was, the little ghost girl. She was holding her finger in front of her mouth as if to tell Myrtle to be quiet. Myrtle almost peed right there, but she held it in. She was terribly afraid. She looked behind her. The ghost was gone. The only place she saw her was in the mirror.
What do you want?
She finally asked, hoping to communicate with this spirit from the other realm. The ghost girl waved to the right, telling her to follow her.
I have to go first,
Myrtle said, so she sat down and went. After she flushed, the ghost girl appeared in front of her, signaling Myrtle to follow her again. Myrtle obeyed blindly. She knew something was wrong, but the little ghost girl didn't look so scary anymore. She was just like her, except for the fact that she was a ghost. They walked through the hallway, with the ghost girl leading the way. When they were in the bedroom, she signaled to wake up her mother and sister.
Why?
Myrtle asked. The ghost girl came closer and was right in her face, giving her a rebuking look, as if she was saying, "Just do it already." It startled Myrtle, but that was exactly what the ghost girl wanted. So Myrtle said,
"Mom, Rosie, wake up!"
They both woke up and saw the ghost.
"Whoa, what is that thing?"
Rosie asked.
"Is that a ghost?"
"Dear, please stay away from that thing," Agatha said. "Come here."
"No, Mom,"
Myrtle answered.
"I think she is trying to tell us something. Let's just follow her."
Are you sure?" Agatha asked.
"How do you know we can trust this, ghost, this girl?" "I just do. Trust me. At first I was scared too, but I know now that she is showing me things, so it must be all right."
"Fine, let's see what she will show us," was the answer. All in their sleeping dresses, the mother and two daughters ran after the ghost girl, who was flying faster and faster through the long hallways of the giant house. Eventually, she flew down the stairs to the front door. Panting a little, Agatha said, "What is it already? My curiosity has been sparked."
"Let's open the front door," Rosie said. "That's where it must be, the thing she wants to show us."
They unlocked the front door and walked outside. It was chilly, especially on their bare feet, but it was bearable. The ghost flew in front of them and hovered above the ground for a minute, pointing at the mud. Agatha and her two girls looked surprised.
"Is it the painting?" Myrtle asked.
The ghost girl nodded. They came closer, and the mother dug into the mud to grab the ugly monster painting and its frame. She brushed off the mud, and then she saw it.
"Oh, no," she said. "What is it, Mom?" Rosie demanded to know. "We are doomed. This painting meant something. Look."
She showed the back of the painting to her daughters. It read the following: "Wherever this painting will be, the next explosion will be. 100 exploding monsters in the dark of the night, only lit up under the full moon. Beware the curse. Vengeance will be theirs."
"What does that mean, Mommy?" Myrtle asked. "It means we get out of here. Fast," she answered.
They looked at the ghost girl one last time.
"Thank you," Agatha said. "Thank you for warning us. Quickly, girls, don't worry about our things. Most of them are still at the other house anyway. We just have to run. Let's go, let's go."
She grabbed her daughter's hands and ran downhill with them, away from the house. When she felt she was far enough, she looked around and gazed at her inherited home. The ghost girl was still there, waving at them. Then she looked to the right and saw 100 of those green miscreants dash up the hill and run at the house. Some of them tripped, others jumped over rocks and moved faster, but all of them were speeding into the same direction. When they arrived, the house exploded into dozens of different places. Boom!
"Mom!"
Myrtle and Rosie both screamed. Agatha knelt down and put her arms around her daughters, protecting their ears from the noise and their sight from the bright light the fire emanated. Boom, 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 boom! It didn't stop for another 5 minutes. Exploding monsters were still attacking the house and committing suicide doing it. When it was over, Agatha let go of her daughters. They all watched their newly acquired house burn to the ground.
"Why did this happen, Mom?" Rosie asked. "I don't understand." "When your father died," Agatha explained, "he often talked about the monsters he fought at the borders of our land. He must have killed thousands of them before he died in battle. He also mentioned a little girl he tried to save, but couldn't. The guilt was strong. It was as if he had failed completely. I still remember him talking about it over and over again." "But why did the green monsters attack our house?" Rosie asked. "They wanted payback. They finally found our address and wanted to avenge the deaths of other monsters. It all makes sense to me. The girl who died probably suspected it and came to this house to warn us." "So where will we live now?" Myrtle asked. "Oh, don't worry. We still have our other house. We will move back there. The only thing that's a bummer is that this house was a lot bigger. It was huge. I kind of liked it." The three of them began to walk to the village from whence they came a few days earlier. "Mom," Myrtle said after a while. "Yes, dear. Go ahead. What is it?" "If it's any consolation to you, I didn't like that house anyway. It was black and big and ugly." Agatha laughed. "Thanks, Myrtle. I'll keep that in mind." The end. This has been Ghost Stories for Kids, short horror stories for Goosebumps and Shivers, adventure stories for kids, written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Veskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.
Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.